Hi, welcome to another video review with me, Ian Williams, where today I'll be reviewing the HTC Hero. Now, this is the third phone from HTC to run Android, but it's the first to include HTC's new Sense overlay. But I'll get to that a little bit later in the review. Let's start with the form factor. As you can see, the Hero keeps the same basic shape as both of its predecessors, the G1 and the Magic. There's a large touchscreen on the front, a trackball surrounded by 6 buttons with various features. But compared to the Magic, and the G1 actually, the Hero has sharper lines and a much bigger chin, which makes it look a lot more professional. The casing is also now imbued with Teflon to help it stand up to the use and abuse of everyday life, and the screen has been treated to make it more resistant to fingerprints and oil. But I must admit, this seems to have very little actual impact. You'll find yourself still cleaning the screen very regularly. HTC has also finally listened and put a 3.5mm headphone jack onto the Hero, so you're not stuck using the awful mini USB headphones that you're forced to use on other mobile devices. The Hero also has a very good looking capacitive touchscreen, so making it's a lot more responsive, and also the camera has been bumped up to 5 megapixels. So it takes pretty decent shots, but there's no flash still, so it's almost useless in low light. Also, because it's an Android device, the Hero is tied pretty closely to Google services. The upside to this is, once you enter your username and password and you get going, your contacts, your calendar, your email, your instant messages, these are all set up and synchronized automatically for you. Now, with the Android, you'll also have access to Android's marketplace, which means any other applications you may need are right there for you. It's not quite as big as Apple's App Store, but there are literally thousands of different apps already available and do just about anything you can think of. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the Hero also embeds the new Sense platform. Much like HTC did when it put TouchFlow over Windows Mobile, Sense adds an overlay over Android that makes the whole interface just a lot more intuitive to use. Although Android already has a very customizable interface, Sense does an excellent job of filling in some of the gaps that Android's native interface kind of leaves. For a start, you now have access to a full 7 screens instead of the original just 3. And there are also a whole heap of new widgets available to provide information such as weather, media playing, your social networking such as Twitter, clocks, calendar, and so on. A lot of the widgets also have several versions, so you've got a lot of different clock functions available and designs, and things like the calendar and the media player. You can have either a full screen version or just a little, much slimmer version that can be used alongside other shortcuts. Sense also goes a lot deeper than just putting a pretty skin over the top. It also integrates a lot of different applications and social networks. So now when you go into your contacts, for instance, you can see updates from social networks as well as all the calls, texts, messages, emails, Flickr photos, all the things that are associated with that person. I'm also happy to say that the keyboard has been massively improved compared to the one used on the Magic, thanks mainly to the combination of the capacitive touchscreen and a much improved dictionary that can actually learn. Now, as well as Sense, there's something called Scenes, which allows you to create different layouts of all the different screens. So perhaps you want one for work, one for home, one for traveling. Each scene profile can be completely altered to all 7 screens can be changed. Unfortunately, though, with Scenes, that's about it. You can't change any of the phone's settings, account details, so on, which just strikes me as a little short-sighted. What if you have 2 separate Google accounts? Maybe one personal, one for work? What if you want to turn off all the data access while you're abroad or change the contact groups that you can see in each different scene or profile? So far, it can't handle any of that, but hopefully we'll see that added in the future. As a whole, the device generally runs pretty smoothly, but it can be a bit slow sometimes and sometimes lags quite badly, which can be especially annoying if you're not sure whether the phone didn't register a press of the finger or if it's busy contemplating life, the universe, and everything, and it'll get back to you in just a moment. It can actually be easy to forget that Android is actually a very young operating system, and so it's still a little rough around the edges, especially if you're looking for enterprise-level features. Even so, the Hero is a great device and comes highly recommended. I hope you've enjoyed my review of the HTC Hero and will join me again soon for another video review from the V3 Studios.